Hey guys, this is Gevork again from Gev Loves to Read. I know it's been 3 to 4 weeks since my last video, it's been a while, but I just finished reading my latest book, American Dirt by Jeanine Cummins, and I thought I'd share a couple quick thoughts about it. Just kind of stumbled upon the book on Kindle. It had decent reviews, so I thought I'd give it a shot. I didn't really even know what it was about before I read it. I just couldn't really decide what to read next, so I just stumbled upon it and decided to read that. Basically, the story it's a contemporary novel. It was published by Jeanine. Well, it was written by Jeanine Cummins. It was published in 2020, and it's just about this migrant crisis going on in America. It tries to put like a human story behind all these migrants that want to basically leave their country, whether it's in Central America or the United States, and come to America. And I know it's a very contentious political issue, but this story tries to kind of go at it from a more human side and maybe tell a human story of some of the people that might be coming here and why they may have no other real choice but to flee their country, flee their homeland to come here. So that's sort of the background behind the book. Also, by the way, just a quick side note, this book apparently, although I haven't gotten very deep into the controversy, but apparently there are some people that didn't like the book. Some of it may be because of the fact that the author is white, and for her to write a book about Hispanic people gets into the whole topic of cultural appropriation. It could be a little bit of that, or there might have been certain things in the book that she didn't get quite right, or inaccuracies. I don't know. I didn't read all the negative reviews of it, so you can take that with a grain of salt, but it is apparently a somewhat controversial book for different reasons. But basically the story is about this girl named Lydia and her son Luca. And early on in the story, her entire family is killed. They're having this birthday party, a quinceanera, and these drug cartels, or these members of a drug cartel called the Los Jardineros, come in and pretty much kill everyone there except Lydia and her son. And Lydia's husband, Sebastian, is a journalist. He's he wrote an article about the head of the Los Jardineros, a man named Javier. Turns out Javier was having a relationship with Lydia. Lydia owns a bookstore in Acapulco, and he would patronize the store, and they developed this good friendship with each other without Lydia knowing that she was the head of a drug cartel. So when Lydia finds out from reading Sebastian's article that she's befriended head of a drug cartel, she knows things are, she's in deep trouble. And eventually Javier, Lydia, I think, confesses, and Lydia tells Javier that she knows that he's a member of the cartels, and basically Javier retaliates and ends up killing her entire family. And so naturally she has no other choice but to flee, because she's her life is also at risks. So that's kind of the backstory, and why she pretty much has no choice but to flee Mexico. And along the way she meets some other characters. She meets these two young, so she flees with her son, and they meet these two young girls, Rebecca and Soledad, who are from Honduras. Very young, attractive girls, and they've been sexually abused by some gang members in Honduras, and also their father ends up getting stabbed by gang members after they leave. They're the ones that teach Lydia and Luca how to jump onto the La Bestia, which is this train that goes through Mexico, and a lot of the migrants jump on and off the train to, get to America more quickly instead of walking on foot. There's a lot of different things that happen in the journey. I think early on she goes to this place from Acapulco. She goes to Chilpancingo, meets up with this man named Carlos, who I think was a friend of Sebastian, and stays there for some time. And I believe Carlos's wife was a white woman from maybe Indiana. And anyways, she's traumatized when she tells the story to her. She meets a man named Lorenzo on the train on the La Bestia, who was a former member of the Los Jardineros. He said that he left, but he was actually tracking Lydia along the way, and was relaying the information to Javier. They also at one point get stopped by these immigration enforcement people. They raid the La Bestia train, so they get sent into a detention center there, and they're let go because they're actually not, they're from Mexico, but all the people that are from Central America are detained. And so Rebecca and Soledad were detained, so they have to spend money. Lydia and Luca did to free Rebecca and Soledad. So eventually they make it. They get to a point where they get set up with this coyote. His name is El Chacal. And because one way to get to America is through Tijuana, but that has too much law enforcement, so they go to this other area where they basically have to travel through this rugged desert terrain. And the coyote El Chacal, whose name is El Chacal, or his nickname, knows how to navigate this terrain. So Rebecca and Soledad know this person, and they go together and eventually end up meeting this person. They stay at his apartment for a few days, and then they go on the journey into the United States. And there's some tragedies that happen in that journey as well with some of the characters, without going into every little detail. But the old Chacal gets them into the United States, and then they eventually, at the very end of the book, we know that they've moved to Maryland and trying to start a life there in the States. So the whole book is basically just this rugged and difficult journey to escape Acapulco for Lydia and Luca, and for some of the characters Central America, to get into the United States. There's a lot of murder and sexual abuse and tragedy along the way, people dying from illness and all the rest of it. So it's a very dark and tragic story, but I guess there's some light at the end of the tunnel when they make it to the States. And I think basically the biggest theme I take from it is just the ability for people to confront tragedy and to show strength in the face of tragedy, to just survive, do whatever it takes to survive, and live, and be able to live another day. And you see that a lot with the Luca character, who's this little kid who's 8 years old, and for him to be confronted with so much tragedy and to come out of it, and you can tell he gets stronger and stronger. Like in the beginning he wasn't talking, but because he was just so distraught, but you can see the character develops a lot of strength and moral courage as the book goes on, and he develops a great relationship with Lydia and Luca. And so it's also about these bonds and these friendships that are developed along the way when people are dealing with these difficult circumstances. So I have a few quotations from the book, just so you get a feel for the author's writing, and then I'll end it there. This first one is from an early part of the book. It seems impossible that good people, so many good people, can exist in the same world where men shoot up whole families at birthday parties and then stand over their corpses and eat their chicken. So that's referring to that quinceanera I mentioned earlier, where this is right from the beginning of the book. This is towards the end where they're making the final crossing into America. She'd hoped, like one of these desert rattlesnakes, to shed the skin of her anguish and leave it behind her in the Mexican dirt. That's a nice metaphor. You know, towards the end of the book, Lydia is just trying to, you know, she obviously this tragedy was so terrible and she feels horrible about it, and she takes some of the blame because of the relationship she had with Javier, but at some point she kind of lets go of it and accepts it and says, you know what, I'm just going to move on with my life. And she hopes by leaving Mexico into American dirt, quote unquote, she can start that new life. And then this is another one, that these people would leave their homes, their cultures, their families, even their languages, and venture into tremendous peril, risking their very lives for all the chance to get to the dream of some faraway country that doesn't even want them. I don't remember the exact context of it, but I think it kind of speaks for itself, you know, because look, I mean, these people, unfortunately, you know, if you're dealing with drug cartels and all these really violent criminals, you know, frankly, you may have no other choice but to escape, to come to America. And of course, certainly not every American is exactly in favor of allowing, you know, so many refugees into the country for, you know, different political reasons, which, you know, I think there's some merit to that thinking as well. I mean, you can't have, you know, unlimited immigration into a country and expect that it won't have some impact on the society. So it's a difficult issue. That's really what you kind of ultimately think about, is how difficult this whole situation is, and you hope that the situation can improve in some of these countries so that there isn't as much of a need for the migrants to come here in such great numbers. But, you know, those are political issues, and you know, I don't have too much to say on that. And the book doesn't really get into politics too much. It's, like I said, it's more of a human story. So that's kind of the gist of American Dirt. I liked it. I thought it was a pretty good book. I recommend it, but you know, perhaps maybe you know, if you are thinking about reading it, maybe you should take a look at some of the reviews of the book and look at some of the criticisms of it. I mean, there might be some elements of the book that were just inaccurate or didn't portray things the right way with the characters. I don't really know. I didn't read a lot of the reviews one way or the other. I just kind of took the book for what it is. But maybe something for you to consider before reading the book. But overall, I liked it and I recommend it. So yeah, that's American Dirt. Thanks for listening on this review, and hopefully I'll be making more videos soon. I'm currently reading a book by Michael Lewis, The Blind Side, I believe. So I'll probably talk about that in a week or so. So anyways, thanks for watching the video, and have a great day.